and the bubble is expanding. That's called the Big Bang Theory. Now, as
Michio Kaku, don't ever explain your God expanding space expansion with some kind of bubble or any kind of balloon. Don't ever do that mistake because it's stupid explanation. This expanding balloon expanding in space to the outside space which already exists. And this balloon surface is very skinny, but it is three-dimensional, you know. And there is, it consists separate nuclei of atoms which moving relative to each other. And this movement, it is happening in space. And this space is just three-dimensional stage, which is nothing. So, you believe in this kind of God, like expanding space, but you can't explain with words or visual way what the fuck it is this God which expanding. You can't explain this expanding space expansion with words or visual way. You can only believe in that there is this kind of God, like expanding space. Zeus, great lightning. Long time ago, these antique people, they believe in this kind of God, like a Zeus. And you, and other cosmologists, you believe in that there is this kind of God, like an expanding space, which create this light redshifting some way to somehow. But there is no explanation. And you can't measure that you're God. You can't observe. Because the space don't emit light. You can't make science experiment with your God expanding space. You can't try to get this expanding space to expanding faster or anything at all. So you can only believe in that there is this kind of God like expanding space. Well, I tell you, space don't play tricks. Albert Einstein opened physics Pandora box with the stupid idea that space can curving. There is this kind of God like a curving space, and no this kind of God like a bubbling space, or no this kind of God like a waving space. Space don't play tricks. So please don't ever explain your God with balloon. And don't ever, when you explain that this your universe expanding, don't ever do that. You doing that, you get the picture that there is expanding to the outside place which already exists. And it's not that way your theory. The space don't expand into the outside place. Your Big Bang cult hybrids, they explain that there is like a galaxy clusters and other galaxy clusters. And these galaxy groups, they are more far away from each other later. Even they don't moving. Now I'm moving my hand in space. But this theory, what you believing about, these galaxy groups don't moving away from each other. They stay in same area in space. But however, later, these are more far away from each other because of your God expanding space. The space expanding some way to somehow, but you or anybody else can't explain how it's happening. And I say you, it is not space. We can say that all light is redshifted, and it is because all light's expanding. There is dark waves. These light dark waves which expanding and interacting with each other and get each other expanding faster and faster. And that's why expanding light moving faster and faster, same way what matter and light expanding. Yes, also nuclei of atoms expanding and recycling dark expanding energy. Like a trillions and trillions separate expanding particles with just expanding and recycling expanding energy. And when you send one expanding photon, that way where is expanding nuclei of atom, this expanding photon can interact with these trillions expanding dark energy particles. And when these particles start expanding so fast that they don't have a time pushing each other away, same way what they're expanding, they spawn new expanding electron. And you and other physicists, you thinking about that there was already electron, but there was not. You can create new electrons with expanding light. And this is the keyword theory of everything. Einstein was wrong with curving space, but right with relative time, you know. but also substance volume, it is also relative. And we have already proofs. We can see that old expanding light is redshifted. And it's happened because these expanding lights, when they interact with each other, this new one, which is faster, can accelerate this old expanding light movement speed. And when it starts moving faster and faster, it's redshifting. It's redshifting this light which is expanding. And space don't do anything at all. So it's fucking stupid idea to explain this phenomenon with this kind of hocus pocus space which play tricks. Forget the stupid idea that space can play tricks. There is no this kind of god like a space which play tricks. Just Google Savorinen and go read how universe really works. Savorinen Jukka Petteri, uusi Suomi-blogi. You can read how it's going, how it works. There is very big scale recycling systems, and these galaxies which was born centered to outside, these expanding galaxies. First was born these supermassive concentrations which own three-dimensional big bangs, and these three-dimensional big bangs still continue. So supermassive concentrations just expanding and expanding and expanding, and at the same time they emit expanding dark matter particles, like a trillions and trillions dark matter particle which also expanding and recycling expanding energy and pushing each other away same way what they expanding. And when you had two supermassive concentrations which moving near each other, they're pushing out this dark matter particle which moving through each other's strong interaction, expansion, next one, and finally these dark matter particles start expanding so fast that they didn't have a time pushing each other's away same way what they're expanding, and then start born very quickly new expanding stars without any kind of pulling forces and without this kind of god like a curving space, and these expanding stars just pushing away from expanding galaxy center. Same way what they're expanding today, but first they should moving faster what they're expanding, of course. And that's the way it's going. This is the keyword theory of everything. We can explain everything only with one force, and it is expanding pushing force. Yes. Magnetism, everything, everything. You don't need any kind of pulling force. No small scale pinning force like a pulling. No pulling force. No. Just this recycling system, expanding energy, center of nucleus of atoms, there is this kind of congestion areas, traffic areas, which expanding, and there is expanding energy which pushing inside these expanding traffic areas, more and more and more, and inside pressure getting bigger, but it's not getting bigger because these traffic areas, quarks expanding all the time. And they're pushing out that expanding energy, expanding pushing force. So expanding quarks just recycling expanding energy and pushing each other away same way what they're expanding. And that's the way it's going. Okay, cheers. Einstein wrong with curving space. Well, right with relative time, but also substance volume, it is also relative.